Hello, world, and welcome to our live stream. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Garrett.
And tonight, we'd like to welcome the esteemed Don Chin, co-founder of Parody Press, and creator of many fine series, including Adolescent, Radioactive, Black Belt Hamsters, X-Farce, Bloody Hot. That's a lot. What was that?
That's a lot of stuff.
Bloody Hot, and Beardzzerker.
Yeah.
Just to name a few. Welcome to the show, Don. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to be here, guys.
Excellent. Yeah, good to have
Happy
you.
Glad to have you.
Thank
Happy
God it's Friday.
Yeah, I mean, wow, what a week, right? Start now. Yes. I'm bored and have nothing to do, says Darren Wagner.
Real.
So let's give a quick bit of attention to the chat before we jump into things. We've got Jake Twister in the house. We've got the legendary Mo Biggs.
Mo Biggs. AR-15.
We've got members of the Crack Pack. We've got Noah. Neff is late because he's on the phone with his lawyer telling him to sue me. You know what, Noah?
Actually, in honor of you, put your book up behind him. So
to
no hard feelings.
To remind me on how to
grab
actually
mine.
spell it. Yeah, you should.
You should.
You know, we could
grab my Magma
together,
my
Don.
edition. Hang on.
We could do a live review of MAVRICS with an X.
That's right.
That's what I'm going to call it. No, I'm going to call it MAVRICS with an X. We've also got, like I said, Darren Wagner. We've got Oliver from 656. Cryptid Knowles. What is up, Oliver? Good to see you. Hockey's in the chat. We've got Peter Palmiotti.
Hey, Mr. Palmiotti.
Hey, Black Rose Comics is here. I think I know what all these people are showing up for. It's Don Chin, obviously.
I thought it was Frequency Girl.
It might be Frequency Girl. We've also got Arrow Scott 99. That must be a friend of yours. You know who Arrow Scott is?
I don't think I do.
Well, then Arrow Scott, welcome to our channel. It's first time seeing you here. Thanks for dropping in. So we're going to give everybody a little bit more time to filter in before we do the expected face reveal. While we wait, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Don? Where are you from?
Where am I from?
Where'd you grow up?
I'm from the West Coast. I live in my hometown, which is in the Pacific Northwest. When people think Northern California, they think San Francisco, but actually there's quite a bit of real estate between San Francisco and Oregon. So I live about an hour away from Oregon in a really pretty coastal community.
That's awesome.
It's where they filmed quite a few movies out here. You like the speeder scene in the forest on the Return of the Jedi, through the redwood trees and stuff.
No kidding.
And what else have they filmed out here? That really bad Will Smith movie, was After Earth or something with his son.
Oh yeah, the one he did with Jaden before. Jaden
it wasn't too good. So I live in this really pretty area. It's expensive though. Our gas. There you go, Humboldt County. Arrow Scott knows. Humboldt County is also known as like the weed capital of the world.
I've done a lot of road tripping around the country. I've been out all parts except for the northwest. It's something. Yeah, it's on the list of the next place to go. Like I've always thought it's been beautiful up there. I mean, I'm a northeasterner, so I love my mountains and forests and stuff.
Nice.
But I really am excited to get out there at some point.
Yeah, if you come out here, look me up. We can grab a bite or have some coffee and shoot the breeze. I like that.
There's Phoenix in the chat.
So that's just kind of where I'm from. And, comic book wise, I mean, I'm way old compared to you guys. You guys are probably
you don't though. You be drinking that good vitamin juice or whatever.
I guess I have.
Don't look a day over 40. I'll tell you that.
Thanks, man. I was telling telling people on a stream I was on this last weekend. Dark Gift Comics was closing out his Hunting Alice stream, and a lot of the people, they didn't know who I was, but when I told them how old I was, they said, no way. And I said, well, it's an Asian thing. You look like you're 12 until you're like 30. And then when you're 30, it kind of evens out after you get older. So I think that's...
Yeah, I'd say 35 is kind of the age when you just, you look like Ralph Macchio forever, right?
That's a good one.
You said people don't know who you are. At least they didn't on Dark Gifts channel. That's because they're these young whippersnappers these days, and they've got no respect for tradition.
Well, that's okay. I was away for a while. I mean, I took like a 15-year sabbatical from comics, so it's understandable why people, in their 30s and stuff might not know. But if you guys grew up in the 80s, that's kind of where my wheelhouse was. 80s, early 90s.
Right. So why don't you give us a little bit of insight into the career, the life and times of Don Chin?
Sure.
Not that it's, it's not posthumous. It's a living biography.
Okay.
So where did you get your start? How'd you get into comics?
Well, I grew up kind of reading them because my parents owned a restaurant, and to pass the time, they would give me comic books, and they kind of started me on the Harvey Richie Rich stuff. And then I gravitated into Marvel as I got older, Marvel and DC. Peanuts by Charles Schultz was a huge influence. I read a lot of his comic strip collections. And still to this day, that's probably one of my most fond memories growing up, is just eating Cinnamon Toast and reading comics and Peanuts as a kid. So then as I got older, I would be starting to create my own comic book strips on binder paper. And I still have them to this day. They're so funny to look back on, trying to squeeze like 18 panels on an 8.5 by 11, piece of lined paper. But I did back in the day. But I was really interested on the newsstand. There used to be, besides Mad Magazine, there was another parody book called Cracked. And I don't know if you guys remember that, but it used to be on, you could only basically grab it. You could grab it on the Cracked. I'm getting a little echo. Is that
no? Yeah, that was on our side. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's all right. So I really liked that because it made me laugh, and I really liked popular movies at that time. So the big draw for both those magazines was they would always spoof the most popular movies and TV shows of the time. So Star Wars, when Star Wars hit in the like 77, they were not far behind on spoofing that. So I was a big Star Wars fan, and I gravitated towards anything that I could read Star Wars wise. And so Cracked and Mad were, they were making money off of spoofing Star Wars. And so I would buy these issues. And eventually I thought, I'm a decent artist, but I'm not nearly as good as, the people that I was looking up to. So I gravitated more into writing. And my very first professional published work was actually in Cracked in 1984. So my friends and I had tried to do some fanzines back in the day, like when we were in high school. So we did some kind of like heavy metal magazine knockoffs that we called Overload. And that was another big influence on me, was heavy metal underground. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jim O'Reilly and Amanda. I see them in the chat.
Heavy metal was my first introduction to comics too, actually.
Good.
I was born in the 80s. But my dad collected heavy metal from when it first came over.
Awesome.
And he actually had 2 issues that he bought of every heavy metal. One that he kept for himself in his collection, and then the ones that he would actually read and like flip through. And he let me go through those as a kid. So way younger than I should have. I was going through the pages of heavy metal, and that like got my creative energy going.
They had a lot of boobies in heavy.
Oh, dude, right? And that's like I'm like a 10-year-old. I'm like, oh man,
yeah, right.
What is he thinking? There's
actually
movies in
where I
here.
was introduced to Milo Manera was through Heavy Metal Magazine.
Yep.
And that was fantastic. I mean, I got introduced to Frank Frazetta and all of the traditional ones, but like Milo Manera's Click was, I think, the first comic with an X in the title that I ever encountered. And then, of course, from there was Robert Crumb and everybody else.
Yeah,
I didn't read. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I never read Heavy Metal, but Mad Magazine was like my first introduction to comics outside of like comic strips.
Yeah, Mad and Crack. Actually, Darren Wagner gets really mad when there is no crack. So it's important to keep those things around. Anyway, so how did you get your start in comic books? Like, where was the first thing that you would consider, the commercial success of Don Jim?
That most likely would be the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters.
Is there a theme song?
There isn't, but Weird Al did a song called "The Radioactive Hamsters from a Planet Near Mars," and that was.
Did he get the idea from you?
I think he did. I mean, how else could you think of that?
Had to, honestly.
Yeah.
Weird Al is great at parody songwriting, so he's got to get his parody material from, or at least inspiration for his parody material from other sources. And what better source than, a parody of the book that he's going to parody? Why don't we say hello real quick to our recent additions to the chat? We've got Jim O'Reilly hanging out with us now, and I think I saw Amanda B in here. Yep. Yeah, we got Amanda B in the house. Hey Amanda. Fraggles right down there, just so you know.
Good, healthy weekend crowd. I like that. That's awesome. Yep.
All tuning in and excitement and anticipation of seeing that amazing trailer of yours again.
I love that.
Oh, fine.
It was so good.
Thank you.
So do you have any formal education in sequential storytelling? Did you go to school for art or writing?
Actually, Aaron, I don't think I ever told anybody this, but on a lot of my interviews, but I was a film major. I really wanted to be a film director, and I was making movies from the time I was like in 7th grade. Okay. I had a Super 8 camera, and my parents were fairly well off. They ran a successful restaurant. So I was a really young person with a Super 8 camera that had sound. And so I would make these movies that I cast my friends in. We even did like a Star Wars parody back in the day. After we saw Hardware Wars, we thought we could, do Hardware Wars. But that was my biggest ambition. As I went to school, I was thinking, boy, I would really love to be the next George Lucas. By the way, happy birthday, George. And so I was trying to apply to schools down in Southern California that were known for their film schools like USC. But I didn't get accepted there. So I went to my local university to try to learn how to be a filmmaker. And then as I started to interact with people that were really actors, I kind of got a sour taste in my mouth because they were super strange. Sorry,
you realized that to make a movie, you were going to
have
have to work with these other people to bring that story to life. You see, it's funny that you mentioned that. I ask a lot of people why sequential storytelling over different other ways of telling stories, like novels, television, film. And you hit the nail on the head there. In order to bring a film to life, there are a lot of other working parts other than just the budget and the subject matter you can cover. You have to work with actors.
Yeah. All kinds of people.
I hate actors. Some of them are okay. Don't get me wrong. They can be good people, but it's really hard to bring everyone together. And that's like the task that a director has to do. He really has to hold the vision of the film together by bringing the actors, their talent out into making a movie. And honestly, I would just rather draw people doing what I want them to,
Yeah, that is a good analysis, because up to the point I got out of high school, I was just using my high school friends, and everybody's chummy. We don't have egos. They're not professionally trained. And it was just for the fun of it. But when you get into, as you mature and you find out, that's not how the real world works, you are working with these people that are, obviously they're talented, but they have these egos and they're pretty wacky. So I switched majors in a couple of years into my film major, and I got into cartooning, which I was always into, through high school. I had a cartooning class. And then I just thought, well, if I can't do film, then why don't I try, really trying to make comic books a profession. And I had a really big collection going into college. So I actually started a comic book store out of my parents' a little extra room they had at their house. And before long, it got so big that I moved it to a downtown location. So while I was going to college, I owned a comic book store, and that's where I heard about the Turtles being, you know, the next big thing, from a couple of unknown guys from the East Coast.
Yeah, Eastman and Laird.
Yeah. So I got Eastman and Laird's book into my shop, and I really loved it because I was a big Frank Miller fan, and I also liked that kind of underground vibe, you know, gritty vibe that Eastman and Laird did on the Turtles, and it really appealed to me because I did like a lot of stuff like crime, heavy metal, and so I just thought this book is selling like hotcakes. I like it. How could someone actually pull off a parody of a parody? Because Turtles was a parody.
Oh, absolutely.
Of Daredevil, and you know, and so I approached my friend Parsonovich, who was my high school cartooning friend. He was also at the same university, and I said, "Hey, do you think you'd want to do this spoof book with me that spoofs the Turtles?" And it was the Adolescent Active Black Belt Hamsters, which I just came up with while I was doodling in a class when I was bored. And I just thought of this story, and he drew it like 31 pages. And then we thought, well, maybe we should shop this around to see if we can get a publisher. Because we tried self-publishing with the Overload book, and it was really hard to get distribution that way. But we had met the publishers of Eclipse, who are also based in Northern California, at some Bay Area comic book conventions. So on a whim, we just made copies of the Hamsters book, and we sent it to them, and they responded back, and they said, this is something we'd like to get involved with. So that's kind of my first, how my first break happened.
That's awesome. So I also made a parody of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was.
You did?
I did. I made it with my friend, and it was called Teenage Mutant Rubber Duckies. And they did have a theme song.
Really?
Mutant Rubber Duckies, Teenage Mutant Rubber Duckies, Teenage Mutant Rubber Duckies.
You know, it's funny
in the bathtub.
I think
Ducky Power.
Yeah, that was it.
I think Turtles and a lot of comics that were like indie books coming out like that were some of the first books that I actually bought for myself. Because I mean, we're in the East Coast, so you know, Eastman and Laird are kind of almost hometown heroes around here.
Yep.
Northampton, Massachusetts is not far from here.
Wow.
And they actually had a comic book museum that was there for years. So I remember as a young lad getting to go to the comic book museum and check out all their cool stuff. And I got to see, like, you know, all the old Turtles books. There was, I remember even buying like some of the weird spoof books too. I don't know if you remember a book called, I think it was Hamster Vice. I don't know if that's anything you had to do with.
Yeah, Dwayne Ferguson. He was that was a Blackthorn comic. We actually were in the same. Blackthorn actually approached me and they said, "Do you think you might want to do a crossover with Hamster Vice?" And I thought about it. And as much as I kind of like the energy of Hamster Vice, for me it wasn't quite the right timing. So what Blackthorn did was they created an anthology book called Laughing Gas, and in that book they actually had Hamster Vice and the hamsters, my hamsters, in separate short stories in that, and it sold really well for them. But I was familiar with Hamster Vice, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I at the time I think I was like excited because I was like, oh, it's another like mutant Animal Squad. I mean, 'cause I was really young, right? I don't think I was thrilled with the Hamster Vice artwork, but like I remember all of those kind of like cool books coming out that were all about that.
There's two very different visions of the Turtles too.
Yeah.
Like there's the original Eastman Laird, which was a lot grittier,
And
darker.
there's the cartoon, right?
And that was, like you said, more of a parody of Daredevil, but more like, I don't know if parody is the right word for that. It's not really a satire, because it was dark and gritty, and it's hard to make a parody out.
But you got the Foot Clan.
Yep.
Versus the hand.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if it homage. Who knows? When I think about the Turtles and the 80s cartoons that I grew up with, that absolutely feels like parody. Parody that children took seriously and adults looked at and went, oh my God, they eat pizza with jelly beans and run around in the sewers, and this is absolutely ridiculous. But I can hold both of those in equal esteem. in my heart. And I think that's rare for something out there to be able to have the original material, which is kind of a derivative adaptation, spoof, whatever, of something else, and the parody of that, and be equally fond of both. Now, I noticed something about your parodies. I haven't read Bloody Hot, which is the Bloodshot parody that you did, right?
Right.
So I can't say it for sure there, but I've seen Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters. I've read X-Farce. I've read Beardzzerker now. Spoilers.
Yeah, you're the only one.
I've read the script. And I gotta say, your style of doing parody is very enjoyable because it's not like a scathing, satirical takedown of the thing. It isn't a mean-spirited poke in the eye, of the creator. It is really a lovingly crafted, poking fun at, Mad Magazine-esque, and that's really what it feels like, homage through comedy. And I think that's very, very rare and very, very valuable in the climate in comics that we have today. You're able to use like a delicate hand to tongue-in-cheek something and bring a reference in and go ha-has, and make fun of something without being mean about it. And much of what's going on in comics right now feels like people are being mean. So it's really refreshing for me to see stuff like what you do. And thanks, man. There's a lot of 80s in that. And the 80s, 90s were kind of a better time than what we're living in right now. So there's so much
I disagree with that.
I will take you to the mat on the 80s.
We do. We disagree on that, but that's okay. I understand your meaning and intent.
Jake says, "Got to bounce Global Frequency Studios." Oh man, you're gonna miss the reveal. Are we half an hour in yet?
No. Not yet. 4 minutes.
Jake, you're gonna have to catch the replay because, like, in 5 minutes we can do the space reveal, and then if you can't stick around, I understand. Catch the replay. Jim O'Reilly says, "In all seriousness, disappeared. All right. In all seriousness, Don Chin is an awesome dude. Yeah. Support Beardzzerker, folks, if you can. And for all that's whole, buy Don's wife a cup of coffee." So, does your wife really need that much coffee?
She is a coffee connoisseur. I mean,
you do a show called Coffee and Comics, right?
I do. She'll bring me coffee like if she's up, she's on an evening stream. If I'm a guest, she'll be really sweet and come down and bring me coffee. And are we still there? Hey guys.
Yep. You're a little.
Someone didn't pay their cable bill.
It's probably our connection. I don't know what's going on.
It's all right. She is a huge. I mean, the water has to be filtered. The grounds have to be fresh, and
Lauren has a very specific need for coffee, so that's why we're all buying her special coffee. We actually started a show. I didn't know you did a show called Coffee and Comics, and then we started doing a show called Coffee and Comics, and I was like, oh man, Don Chin's doing one. We can't really do Coffee and Comics if Don Chin's doing Coffee and Comics.
No,
we're huge fans of coffee. Also, we haven't done it in a while, but we did it. It was more of like a review or talking about like a topical conversation about a comic book that we'd read, paired, so to speak, with an appropriate coffee.
And the thing you got to understand about Aaron and I is the two of us are like brothers in that we absolutely like trust each other, have each other's back, but we also fight
all the time
till like blood is drawn. And when we're reviewing comics and trying to get into things, more often than not, we can't actually get to the point where we can agree about how to actually review something. So when reviews come out, it's pretty awesome. But
But that's also why we have to pre-record it so you can edit out all of the other stuff. Otherwise,
and honestly,
coffee cups going across, smashing.
I've had to, it's been 2 hours of footage that I've had to try and hack together and make sense out of. There's actually a bloopers. I think the last one we did was a blooper reel of us trying to review Marvel's The King in Black.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we paired it with a coffee called Drink Coffee, Destroy Everything. And I kind of did in the middle of the review.
Which is the coffee that Paul got
when we did our giveaway.
I distinctly remember during the filming of that.
I needed a Snickers bar.
Well, yeah, you needed a Snickers bar, and we lost a couple of books due to some rage out.
There was rage. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I like it to be appropriate. You know, we did which is the one that we did with the dragon. We just got our affiliate, link with them with Geek Grind. I don't remember.
Beta Ray Bill.
It was Beta Ray Bill. So that was the last one that we did. We reviewed Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
And in the first issue of Beta Ray Bill, he fights Fing Fang Foom, who's a giant dragon. So we paired that with Dragon's Roast from Geek Grind Coffee, and we had a coffee and a comic and a good time. I want to review more indie stuff. I really do. I want to try and go a little bit more within the, the crowdfunded community and talk about those books. But it's difficult to find something that's really worthy of discussing review. We do have something coming out soon, a new segment, one might say, that we're doing with Frog G. We're not going to spoil it. All right, it's called The Frog and the Freak. Awesome. It's going to be great. I'm currently editing it. I will let you all know when we put our first episode up.
Awesome. Definitely.
So
I was going to say, when you guys are ready to come on my show, if you want, I do it Wednesday mornings. I don't know if you work 9 to 5, or we could maybe schedule a different time if that doesn't work.
You invite us.
I'd love to have you on.
We'll figure it out.
Be there. We will stream from our car, our office, our basement, whatever need be. But we will show up when you call, Don Shin. All right, so it's 30 minutes in. We should probably do this face reveal and then get on with the interview, right? I assume that we still want to talk about the book. We do need to review Java, Pete. We have Java. We did talk to you about reviewing Java. We would love to review Java. It was a little mini series that Pete did. So, everybody, give me a drum roll. Y'all, you're in the chat. I can't hear your drum roll. All right. Presenting the one, the only Frequency Girl. Hey!
Now with 100% more beard.
Wow.
Say hi, Frequency Girl.
My beard is falling up.
It looks just like this one, like the one that we're doing with our campaign. Did you,
Don? That is your beard. That's your beard.
Did I send you one?
You send it with the script.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And you signed it, and I had to give it to her for this little bit of trolling that we're doing right now because I thought it was hilarious, and at least
look at her.
I amused myself with it. Yeah.
Little known fact: my wife's ancestor was a famous bearded lady that had many suitors.
No kidding.
Well, yeah, she's only got one suitor right now. Back off, guys. This bearded one's mine.
Some guys like that.
Yeah, a little of a silky, smooth facial texture. Yeah. A bearded lady. Yes. Okay. I'm glad that it at least appealed to some people.
Breathtaking.
Hey, we didn't lose any viewers from that. So, Don, you no longer have to wear your beard. I'm in love. Hey, right on.
That's great.
So you've worked on so many different things. Two-part question. Would you consider any of the work that you've done to be work within the mainstream? And which of your works to date has been your favorite?
Oh, those are good questions. Mainstream wise, I think the closest thing that would be mainstream was probably the adaptation to Stargate. My company in the early 90s, we were approached by a licensing guy at San Diego Con, and he had these properties, and he represented, I think it was MGM Studios, and MGM had the rights to James Bond and Stargate. And I think he showed me the price tags to kind of get into the licensing deal with them. And James Bond was a little more than we could afford. But my wife and I were big sci-fi fans. And so we saw Stargate in the theater. And when we were approached to have the opportunity to maybe do the comic book adaptation for what we could afford, we jumped on that. So we had the license for Stargate for, I think, 3 or 4 years. And we adapted the movie like in a 4-issue miniseries, and then we did a bunch of spin-offs. But funny thing is, Shelby Robertson actually was the artist on the first issue, and we were the first people to publish Shelby in the early 90s under Entity Comics. So I would say Stargate's kind of the most mainstream thing I've done. I haven't worked for Marvel or DC, but a funny thing is, Aaron and Garrett, is when I and Frequency Girl, is when I had my comic book store, Marvel would co-op your advertising dollars if you would use their characters and you would read their scripts. And so if you did like print advertising or radio advertising and you used their characters or pre-approved scripts with their characters, they would basically give you like 50% credit back on your ads. Cool. So I wrote an ad for Marvel using the Hulk, like visiting a comic book store, and I sent it to them and I said, you know, would you guys consider this something that you could you know, co-op me for if it wasn't one of their pre-done scripts. It was more appropriate to my store. And I just wanted to make sure that, you know, if I spent advertising money, I would get compensated if they liked it. And so they said, yeah, well, you can go ahead and use that script. And then a few months later, they send out this binder full of all these ad scripts. And that they took my script basically word for word, except for my store. They didn't give me any type of credit or anything like that.
Oh, no.
I thought like, okay, well, I'm good enough to write for Marvel's advertising department.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's definitely saying something. You don't usually just get to write for Marvel. They have to come to you, from what I understand. So that's an interesting encounter that you got with mainstream.
Unpublished Marvel ad writer.
I'm going to go try and find that.
I think you should add that to your resume.
Unpublished Marvel writer. Yeah, that would be fantastic. That's just the perfect amount of tongue in cheek, you know. Like, yeah, unpublished Marvel writer. That's right.
What's the second part, Aaron? What was the funnest thing that I wrote?
Yeah.
Oh, probably the Hamsters. I mean, it was just a different time, and it was, you know, we were selling lots. I mean, we've probably sold like 500,000 Hamster books, and so back in the day, you know, we were printing like 50,000 comics an issue, which is like unheard of now with you know, crowdfunding. But that was a great time. I mean, I was making pretty good money, and I was, you know, I had a lot less cares in my life. I was more like a college student, and it was just a fun time, and lots of tours to different stores and getting to sign comics and stuff. So that was fun because it was new, and I was actually making a profession out of what I had always dreamed about doing. But I'll have to say, you know, rewriting Beardzzerker was a lot of fun. Sometimes, you know, you're a writer, Aaron. Sometimes you struggle to just like put something down on paper, and then it just isn't fun. You're like grinding, and it's not like inspired. But sometimes, if the muse hits you, it just flows out, and that's the way Beardzzerker was. It was like I wasn't really. I just thought, okay, we've got this kind of concept that Boom Studios has told us about, but I don't have the book yet to parody it. And if I wait till the book comes out, this book isn't going to come out until late, right? 2021 in December.
Strike while the iron's hot. Yeah.
Right. So I wrote it kind of speculative, and I actually had it finished back in September. So Bill Mouse has had it.
That kind of almost makes it better satire, right? Because like, you know, because then you're looking at a wider breadth of, you know, Keanu Reeves' work and just making this mashup that hits all kinds of different points. I like that. I like that a lot.
Thanks, Garrett. Yeah, that's kind of the way it turned out, was that there's a lot of music reference in it. You know, Aaron's the only one, folks, out there that's seen it, the script, because he bought it on a auction that we did. And so he's got the edited copy. I think there is maybe, I don't know if I have the prologue in that, Aaron, because there's a scene in the end that I don't know if that was part of your package or not, but there's something that has the
complete package.
I might have to,
know, right? You've known that for a while.
I might have to send you some pages when the book comes out. Because that would be cool. I just can't wait to get this thing in print, man. Like I haven't gotten all the way to the end, so I'm not going to pretend that I know how it ends. Good. But every page that I've gone through,
there's been a setup and an execution of a joke almost every page. Some of them, there have been like multiple jokes where I just go, haha, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done if I was being funny with this, you know, like
Good.
I want to talk about it, but I can't talk about it because I don't want to spoil any of the surprises, but all of the 80s references, man, like they hit me so hard, and I start thinking about that time in my life when I was young and watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and you know, watching movies out there like Bill and Ted and Wayne's World and drinking Jolt Cola and all of the stuff from that era just comes flooding back. And I can't wait to see it visually represented. Yeah. You know, that's the thing I love about the sequential art medium is that it's a whole experience. It's one thing to read it and remember it, but seeing it brings such a vividness of that flooding back. And if you do it in the cartoony sort of goofy over the top style that you did X-Farce in, I can just imagine what it's going to be like. I'm really going to enjoy it.
Thank you, man. So, there's a few preview pages on the campaign site. So if you go to Beardzzerker and you just scroll through, and then if you go on the updates tab, I've got like about 8 different updates, and you can actually see a lot of the line art that Bill Mouse is drawing. Did either one of you guys ever read Boris the Bear as you were younger? Like he was the first Dark Horse. First Dark Horse comic book was Boris the Bear.
The first Dark Horse book was a bear?
It sounds familiar. I don't remember it.
Okay, so
Eric McIntyre, if Bill and Ted and Wayne's World were your jam, you need this book.
Yeah.
No, I'm not joking, like you're gonna want this book. This book feels like Bill and Ted. Do you know what I mean? Like, like how ridiculously fun it was, and it didn't really make much sense, but it just felt like a good time. This book feels that way, at least in my head. It does. I haven't seen it. I have read it. I haven't seen it. So let's bring up the campaign so we can take a look at some of the
actually, I want to. What were you going to say about Boris the Bear?
Oh yeah, Boris.
Oh well, I was going to say that after the Turtles were spoofed by me, there was a plethora of other people that were spoofing me and the Turtles. And so before long, you had like the gangrene jiu-jitsu gerbils and preteen dirty jean kung fu kangaroos, gophers, elephants, everything.
You know what's funny? I do remember that there was a whole line of role-playing books put out by, I think it was the same company that did GURPS. In fact, it might have just been GURPS expansions that was basically like, hey, do you want to play a team of mutant ninja animal something or others? Yep. And it was like all of those kind of tropes. It was like kangaroos or whatever you want to be, right?
Cool. You having beard issues?
I'm itchy.
You're itchy?
Yeah.
It happens.
There's got to be a contest for who can wear this thing the longest, because you start to get the hairs in your mouth. And
I did a little bit of trimming to try and, like manscape her face. Yeah, that's a weird one. Yeah, saying that you manscaped, your wife's face.
If you start to break out, you can take it off. Don't get it. I think
it's pretty safe. Hey, we got good stuff in the chat. What is up? Hashtag Crack Pack. No cowards. Good stuff. Hails the chat. Hails the peeps and hails the panel. Good to have you here, man.
That's funny. I'm sorry.
And we got Steve Worcester.
In a nutshell, Boris, who was the very first Dark Horse comic book, he goes and basically annihilates all the adolescent radioactive critters, and he's very violent. He's this really cute, kind of 3 or 4 foot high bear character. But
don't mess with bears.
Yeah, and he's a comic book fan, but then he starts to see his comic book stores being inundated by these funny animal martial arts characters. So he goes on a rampage like a Rambo with a machine gun and basically annihilates in a bloody cartoony fashion all of these.
Was it a Kalashnikov, an AK-47? Because if it wasn't an AK-47, missed opportunity. His name is Boris. He needs a Russian machine gun.
That's true.
Now, these are the things you got to think about, right? You got to have your parody be real nice and tight.
But were your hamsters amongst his victims?
They were. Yeah,
that's got to feel.
Yeah,
awesome,
it's got to feel good.
Right?
You killed my dudes.
Yeah, it was fun. I actually had to track down that issue, and when I saw he took like 2 pages out of the comic book just to get rid of my characters, which was almost as much room as he gave the Turtles. But Beardzzerker has that type of scene in it, but rather than annihilating the funny animals of the day, he's taking on the 2021 millennial musician. So I don't know if you got to that section yet, Aaron, but Beardzzerker winds up at the instead of the MTV, I call it MTTV, right? So he basically lays waste to people that are like Adam Levine and Madonna.
Well, it's like the John Wick scene. He just wades through all of the opposition. And I mean, like, I don't know if you're a Keanu Reeves fan, like a diehard fan, but you seem to have seized on every Keanu Reeves moment that makes, like, when you think of, oh yeah, Keanu, like The Matrix, the most recent, John Wick. You got Bill and Ted. You got all of these like really Keanu franchises, and it really seems like you channeled all of it. You channeled the essence of Keanu Reeves into this book. I thought it was a good thing. I don't know. People might think that there's too much Keanu, but he's breathtaking, right? Let's scroll through this campaign. Why don't you tell us about your favorite tier?
My favorite tier. I would say the best bang for your buck is one that only one person has bought, and it's actually kind of similar to what you got in your auction. It's called the Fear the Beard tier. If you scroll down just a little bit longer, I think it's $99, and for that $99, you're going to get all 6 issues, which are all variant covers, signed if you like. You're going to get the beautiful costume beard that your frequency girl was wearing. There you go. Right there. What else? You're going to get a cool sketch card, which, Bill Mouse has done like some of these sample sketch cards. I'll show you that when we zoom out. And then we even have a digital MP3 album called the Kiss My Axe. And so you get 7 heavy metal tracks, which, one of the songs, when you play the trailer, that's the background music in the trailer. So you're getting all those items plus let's see, all whatever unlocked stretch goals we get. So to me, I think that's a pretty good deal, because normally I would just sell one comic book with a sketch card for around $55. So you're getting a lot more on that tier. I also have, I think the second best tier is one that I'm still running right now, which is the featured tier, which is called the mail-in, no mail-in, or free mail-in tier. And that was because I was on John Malin's show. Actually, I think it was last Friday I was on it. So right now, if you just want to get the issues, you don't want the scratchy beard, and you don't need the MP3 soundtrack or the sketch card, you can get all 6 issues for $69, dude. That was intentional.
Nice. That's a nice price. Yeah.
And that's free shipping, US shipping. So you don't have any.
You had to do free shipping. You didn't want to mess up the numbers. Exactly. I know. Right. If only we could not charge tax, right?
Right.
Exactly. And then for international, which we normally are charging, unfortunately, just to cover it to international, it was normally $30. I was going to discount it to $15. So people can pick up all 6 issues, international shipping for under $100, which I think is a pretty good deal. And we're just shy of 6,000. We had a really good surge over the last few days. Someone dropped around $500 on the campaign, just one single person.
Yeah,
congratulations!
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So we're getting close. We have about 18 days left. Our goal is 7,000. We're just shy of 6,000 right now. So I'm feeling good. We're gonna actually. I think our plan is to close out our stream on Bancroft Show, which is where we launched it.
That's
April
where you
1st.
got to close out your streams. It's great because it's a nighttime show, and everyone kind of wants to finish off at night. There are shows that you kind of want to premiere on. Like I love Sugar Chris in the morning. I love Shay and Sai's Red Valkyrie show. Sometimes they're in the early afternoon, early evening, and then Bancroft, of course, at night. Those seem to be like the shows that I frequent the most. So of course that's like my preference, but Bancroft's definitely where you want to close it out. Just because everyone in the chat's got such great energy. They're so happy to see your campaign come to fruition. They're all really excited to get it, and just it's fun to be a part of that.
Yeah, he's been great. Rick Saylor, I think I was on Art and Stuff a few months ago, and Rick Saylor said, "Hey, have you ever been on Bancroft Show?" And I said, "No, I don't. I watch it, but I don't know him." And I think he made some ins for me, and we got on his show not that much later after that appearance. So Rick, if you watch this replay, thank you for introducing us to the thunder from down under.
Eric McIntyre wants to know, what day are you closing out on Bancroft?
Hi, Eric.
Yes,
I think
Rick is awesome.
I think it's if my calendar is right, I think it's going to be June 1st. So like 2 months after the April 1st launch, but I'll double check and I'll definitely tweet it.
By the way, April 1st launch.
That was perfect.
You know, this is the thing that I'm telling you. Danshin knows what he's doing.
Oh,
Every decision is made consciously. He thinks to himself, how can I maximize the comedy and the enjoyment and the fun in this situation? If I'm going to release a book, when's it going to be? It's a parody book. April Fools. We got to do it then. You know, like, and that's how the book feels. Every opportunity for you to make a giggle, it's seized upon, and that it just made me so excited. I'm fanboying out. I got to shut up.
Thank you.
So why the $7,000 flex goal?
Because 20,000 probably would be unreasonable. All right. Well, the last one was X-Farce, and we kind of broke even on that, even though I said our flex goal was only going to be less than 2,000. It cost me way more than that. It was more of a love letter to come back into the industry. Our motto at Parody Press is to make the world laugh again. So I knew that I was taking a chance. I didn't think it was going to, make $100,000, but I just thought, let's go ahead and dip our foot into the crowdfunding pool. I've never done it before. I'm kind of learning. So I just thought that's a good way to do it, is to do this X-Farce book, which is about, 70% reprinted material, but now in color. And then about 30% of it was new material. So that's kind of just the way that I wanted to learn, what can I do right and wrong? And then use that to make my second campaign better. And, judging by the reception, we're doing, actually, we haven't quite made as much as X-Farce yet, but we still have, 3 weeks left to go. But I have a feeling my price point also was $10 less per book too. So that probably has something to do with it.
Well, I mean, that's good because it's more about getting the books into people's hands. That's why a flexible goal is flexible, right?
Right. And honestly, if we don't even hit the 7,000, this book is still going to print. I mean, I'm blessed. This is like my hobby, my second part-time job. My other job, as a real estate guy, is kind of what makes the bread and butter around here.
It's actually really funny. There is the a limited edition Bloody Hot comic. I think I saw it on eBay while I was scrolling through, and on that you have your little realtor card.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious because you are a legit realtor. I say on my YouTube channel, I'm a realtor by day and a comic book creator by night. And Eric McIntyre thinks you're the Mel Brooks of comic book creators. And honestly, I think that's just kind of the right way to phrase the way I feel about the content, because Mel Brooks did know how to poke fun at things, but he poked fun in a fun way. So I think that, he's onto something there with that description.
Thanks, man.
I have to ask you about this cover. I recognize this art style. You want to tell me about this?
Yeah. So if you watch the trailer, you don't see any of the variant covers other than the initial ones that we thought we were going to go with the book. And as I got closer to wanting to launch the campaign, I thought, what can I do to kind of spice up collector interest? So I reached out to Billy Tucci, Mark Polton, and Ethan Van Sciver. And I didn't think Cyberfrog would be one that he would, be willing to put on the cover.
I don't know if Cyberfrog just kind of synergizes with Beardzzerker. Not really. You picked the right character.
Yeah, actually, I went to Ethan when we were doing X-Farce, and I thought, could we possibly do a variant cover with Cyberfrog and the Mutants? Because that to me was like a match made in heaven. But he politely said, I don't think that's right now that's what he wanted to do. So I just kind of came back to him again, and I thought, well, if I can't do Cyberfrog, who else could I try? And Rainbow stuck out to me, so I sent him an email, and he politely said, yeah, I think we could make that work. So after we got the permission to do a Rainbow variant, I thought, Oh, what am I thinking? Because Rainbow's only like 6 inches tall.
Axes and spikes.
Beardzzerker's like 6 feet tall. How can they actually fight each other or whatnot? And I thought, oh man, what am I gonna do? So I reached out to Preston Azevedo because I had been on his show.
That's what I was driving at.
And
that's a Preston cover, people.
Yeah, he did this awesome Frazetta-esque take on a lot of his work, and I thought, how cool would it be to have Preston do a homage to Frank Frazetta? So I just kind of pitched him the idea, and he thought, oh, I'm going to make this like the Death Dealer from Frazetta, but instead I'm going to put my own spin on it. That's the pose
of the Death Dealer too.
Exactly. So
there's so much homage in this, simultaneously parody. Like when I saw this cover on the campaign, I mean, I love She, don't get me wrong, Tucci's great, and it's exciting to see him. When I hit this, I saw the complete picture in this. It's Preston, who's, you know, an indie CG artist who does the Frazetta style. He did Cryptid's Mothman, right? Yeah, he did Legends of the Mothman.
I just got invaded by my dogs in here, so if you hear like
you're making noise about
chaos,
that's fine. I mean, as long as you're okay.
My wife knew they got out of the upstairs.
they were excited. They come say hi to Garrett's dog.
Come here, people.
You got a guy who's doing a Frazetta cover. You have a story about basically a heavy metal Viking warrior-esque character, and you got Ethan Van Sciver's Rainbow Brute, who's kind of, he's like the leading figure in CG, I guess. I don't know, but it's his new character. And you kind of took everything and made a beautiful package out of it. And it's one piece of art that says everything. And I saw it, I was like, once again, he knows what he's doing. Everything's consciously chosen. It's not just let's have a goof, let's have a laugh. It's let's do this on purpose and with intent. And I think that's what separates it from a lot of the chaff out there when it comes to like parody comics.
Thanks, man. I kind of come from the school of Airplane, the movie. I try to, if you read the Beardzzerker strip or X-Farce, which is already out, you'll just kind of see, like, I try to stuff as many gags as I can into a page or a panel. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think you're right. Over the years, I've just become, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I think I have an eye and an ear to kind of, plan these out. Yeah.
It's your jam. Yeah. You're good at it, and it's what you like doing. And because you like doing and are good at it, it's good. You found something that you enjoy doing, and you do it well. And I think you also do it for the right reasons. Thanks, so man. One of the things that I think is, like, if you're out there doing it just for the money, you're not going to do well, because your focus is on making the money. If your focus is on making the thing because you love the thing, it's going to be better. And if the focus is on making the thing for the people who you want to love it, it's going to even go farther than that, because you're thinking about the people who are going to be impacted by the work. And I think for fundamental reasons, our problem right now with mainstream comics, if you want to call like mainstream, big two. Our fundamental problem right now is it feels like they're not thinking about what the comic books do to people.
Exactly. So, that's a very good observation, man. And if you've got that mindset, Aaron and Garrett, working on your MAVRICS book, I can't wait to see it, because
everything is intentional. Everything is planned.
That's what I love about the CG crowd, is that when you're the creator of this, you have so much more passion. You're mentally involved in it. It's not like you're just doing it for a paycheck. If you're working for Marvel and DC and you're working on a character that you may have grown up to love, but it's not the same as it being something that you've created and are bringing to life.
So we got Amanda B and Jim Cobbs talking about dinner in the chat. Sounds really good. We got Dean up in here too. I don't know if he snuck in while we were chatting. I just want to say, what's up, Dean? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So let's look at the stretch goals real quick. Can we scroll down for the stretch goals? Because those definitely need to be spoken about. You've already got all sorts of really cool goodies on the campaign. Stretch goals are always fun goodies to add to the campaign. The more people show love and support, the more cool stuff everybody gets. And I love that about crowdfunding. I think that's the reason that I want to crowdfund a book.
Thanks, bud.
The merch and the everything, the experience of it. It's not just putting out a book that people can read. It's including everybody in it. like an
now, I
inside
think
joke.
you got the Beardzzerker auction that we did for Pete Sametti. So you actually got some of the perks that we were hoping to give away, even if if we hit our stretch goal, which I think we will. You got the sticker and the guitar pick, right, and the ribbon.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So you kind of know what the first 3 stretch goals are.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. It's glorious, people. The guitar pick, you know that Jack Black movie, The Pick of Destiny? Yeah,
Pick of Destiny. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that. I was like, if there would be one that could summon the gods of rock, it would be this pick. It's all like, like it's not bejeweled, but it glints in the sunlight. It's got
kind
that
of abalone.
Yeah, exactly. Like pearlescent. That's it.
Pearlescent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got a guitar pick, which we should really push this book to hit the guitar pick, guys. It's just that much fun. Then, of course, you got the Rockstar ribbons that are used as bookmarks. I love bookmarks. This is a very interesting style of bookmark. And I like the metal bookmarks. Sometimes I feel they're a little too thin or they have like sharp edges. I like the, so far, the nicest one that I've got, honestly, I think would be the Doomsday Kingdom bookmark because it has a cool little tassel on it. It's thick enough, but it's flexible and it's embossed and shiny. And that's exactly kind of what I wanted. The ribbon, though, that's an entirely different way to go because it's flexible. It's got a cool logo. It's colorful. It's long enough that, it is going to keep your place, but you're not worried about tearing it. And that's one thing I've been worried about with the Doomsday Kingdom bookmark is I've had to be very gentle to not like accidentally catch the tassel in anything and rip the bookmark. So I'm always like looking at this kind of stuff and I guess evaluating it for what I want to do on my campaign, that kind of stuff. We've got Joe Catapano in the house.
Joe!
Thanks for dropping by, Joe.
I was just thinking about him.
We should give everybody a glimpse at Frequency Girl again. What do you think? You don't want to put the beard back on? Okay, you don't want
put the beard back.
Want to put the beard back on
without the beard?
No, it's okay. If you're comfortable doing it, we can do your real face reveal. But maybe we should wait for Sunday. I think this one was good enough. If you want to put the beard back on, that's fine. I know it was making your face itch. I'm not going to force you to like dress in beard for me. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the stretch goals. So what else we got? We got all backers get a Beardzzerker trading card at 9K. All backers getting a sticker at 10, a print at 11, magnet at 12. I love magnets. And we buy Michael Bancroft another manly blouse. Personally, I think that one should have been at 8K, but hey, the Project Pirate was my favorite thing. As far as like the recent lore, I mean, there's ARO and the ARO universe, and then Project Pirate. I think that's hilarious. Like,
thanks, man.
Making him dress up as a pirate was great.
I'll let you in on a little secret, though. We are buying him something else, even if we don't hit the 13,000, just for the closeout show. And I've already received confirmation that he's got a couple of the things that we sent him. So I'll just let you guys know. It'll be worth tuning in that show if he puts on everything that we're sending.
I can't wait. I mean, it's perfect. That's the other thing about your book. I have not encountered in my short amount of time collecting these indie books on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, I have not encountered books that are dedicated almost entirely to comedy, to just being funny and laughing. I think there's something significant about that you really have a niche here that you've latched onto and you're really excelling at.
Thanks, man.
I told you in DMs, I think I said, like, I've never really been big into comedy books. Like, I read Archie and Alf, and I read Mad Magazine and Seen Cracked. I read Sam and Max, Bone, and Cerberus. That's more like dry, like, ironic humor. But I never really got into, like, parody books, and reading this script made me realize that there's probably a whole genre of wonderful things out there that I'm missing. Now, Garrett is right. Most comic books are trash, and it's hard to find the good ones out there. So I
hate when you quote me on that, because out of context, it sounds like terrible. No, you laugh. I don't like that.
Okay, I'm sorry, bro. But I think that maybe like there's something that I can explore that I haven't considered really looking at, a style of comic book or a type of comic book that there might not be in the mainstream. What I'm trying to say is that there's something to discover, and that was exciting for me because it's, oh man, I haven't even thought about this type of comic. I wonder if there are old ones. I wonder if there are new ones. I wonder if I'll like them. And it made me inspired maybe to go out and look at comic books again. I don't know.
You know what I might do, Aaron, is if you could find like the early Mad magazine reprints, like the ones that EC Comics did back in the 50s that are color and kind of on that newsprint. I don't know. They used to actually bind them in the actual Mad magazines on the newsstand. Every once in a while, they would do like an annual super special, like a really thick one, and bound into the back of the Mad magazine would be a reprint of like these really classic Mads from the 50s. And those were hilarious. Those were like just like comedy gold, not brand Eck, ECCH from Marvel in the 60s. That was kind of their take on parody of their own heroes. That's stuff that I grew up on. So there's a lot of parody. Unfortunately, Mad Magazine isn't being published anymore, and neither is Crack. So your generation is, unfortunately not being able to have that to look forward to. So I just kind of feel like the best that I can, I want to try to keep that flame.
It's like
burning.
the closest thing we have is the Babylon Bee.
Right.
And it's not really good, in my opinion, for what Cracked and Mad used to be, because it's so political, it's so polarized. It is funny, but it's only funny if you're reading it from a one-note perspective. Everyone could like Cracked. Everyone could like Mad. It's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like the same thing happened maybe to SNL. SNL used to be funny. It's just...
I nailed it right on the head. I love
fun. I don't know how.
Yeah, I loved SNL, and then after the last few years, I've just been going, I can't even watch this because it's just so politically slanted, and it's malicious too.
That's what I mean about your comedy. Your comedy's not malicious. That's probably why I reacted so strongly to it.
Yeah.
All this other stuff kind of does feel malicious, no matter who's doing it. If it's the Babylon Bee satirizing politics from one angle or SNL satirizing it from the other, it still feels like there's some malice in it. And I don't jive with that. I really wanted something to make me laugh, not something to make me laugh with like a ha-ha poking fun at you specifically.
Right. Thanks, man.
Anyway, so let's yeah.
I was gonna say, what's your can you show me your shirt? Because I'm intrigued by the tagline on it.
The Hail Lobster shirt, after all of the nonsense that happened because of the Ta-Nehisi Coates casting the Red Skull as a beloved writer and lecturer of philosophy and literature. It says, clean your room, tell the truth, hail lobster, because it's a villainous organization. Anyway, I've actually followed, I'm a comparative literature major by education. That's what I went to school for. Don't go to school for comparative literature. You will never have a job. Like, it is one of the most useless degrees. I think maybe some certain sociological disciplines might outstrip comparative literature as far as being utterly useless, because comparative literature is useful, but you just can't find gainful employment. Comparative literature is basically the field of study of Joseph Campbell, learning the power of myth, how to understand the different myths used by different cultures to reinforce the social framework within those cultures. Understanding the Overton window is a very big part of comparative literature. You're looking at literature from multiple different cultures, different times. You're seeing common threads, cautionary tales versus morality tales, that kind of stuff. And I really kind of gravitated towards the hero's journey element. So when a certain Canadian professor came along and did a lecture series called Maps of Meaning, which is fundamentally the science of semiotics and the nature of language, I was utterly fascinated and listened to that. And then, of course, Chaos and Order came along, great book. And then fundamentally 10 Rules for Life. And I kind of stopped reading after that because I felt like we were killing a horse over and over and over again. And all of the early stuff I'd already ingested and enjoyed. Not to say that like the later stuff isn't enjoyable, but it's like I already knew that. You know what I mean? I learned that in college, and then I went to grad school for film and film studies, screenwriting specifically. So
nice,
yeah. But when I read your script, I was like, oh, some of this looks very familiar. Just kind of you take the tricks of the trade that you learn early on, and they just kind of stick with you. That's one of the reasons I thought it was so great to read your sequentials, because as a script writer, as a writer, just in general, I love seeing how other people do their writing. I don't like reading other people's books as much as I probably should. I don't like reading. I don't read for fun. I do a lot of reading for information, for research, for purposes, that kind of stuff. But looking at a comic book, it's one thing. That's the finished product. Seeing the script, on the other hand, that's how the comic gets made. And since that's what I do, I write scripts to make comics. Seeing how other people do it was just, it is just so great to be able to dig into that and see, how is he writing this? How does he describe this scene? This panel, where did it come from? How did he make the artist create this panel? What did he say to get that across? So cool. I thought that was a really, really cool opportunity when I read your script. And yes, there is a certain amount of script writing, cinematic styling in there that's obvious from some of the earlier stuff that I studied at grad school. So what's the biggest obstacle that you have had so far in crowdfunding? Actually, let me back that up. One quick question before that. You're a known name. I know you took some time off from the industry. We didn't talk about why, but you are a known name. You've been published. You were with Eclipse. You did Parody Press. You founded Parody Press. I forgot to ask you about that. You published through Dynamite too, right? Why are you crowdfunding?
I think I was inspired by, guys like Ethan. I took a break, and then when I started to kind of see what was happening in the industry, I checked out Ethan's channel and what he was doing, and that's kind of how I pitched the Cyberfrog Hamsters crossover we were supposed to do, is because I thought, oh, how fun would it be to have these 90s funny animals icons get together, 30 years later in a book. And that was all on track to happen. But then because of cancel culture, that book got shelved. And unfortunately, I don't know if it'll receive the light of day. But I wrote it. And honestly, that was like, I was really looking forward to that project, because it was going to be a high profile book. Cyberfrog is pretty much the top character in comics right now. And I just thought, what better way to get the hamsters back on the map is to have this great book with Ethan's blessing. E.J. Morges and Keenan White were supposed to draw it, and I'd not seen either one of these guys until Ethan and kind of introduced me to them. And once I saw their work, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is like a dream come true! I've got these really great artists to do hamsters." And to be honest with you, Dynamite did the revamping of them in the 2007. And it wasn't with me, but I was just kind of overseeing it, and it was okay, but it wouldn't have been the way that I would have brought them back after, a decade or so. I would have done, I think, they didn't even actually introduce the older characters until the second issue. So Keith Champagne is a very talented writer. He was kind of trying to come up with a new generation of hamsters like John Claude and Steven Seagal one and stuff. It was really well done. I mean, the production value was great, but I think I would have wrote it a little more tongue in cheek than what they came up with. But
a little more of the light touch, not so heavy handed.
Yeah. I mean, I think he did the best that he could with what, maybe, I don't know what parameters the Dynamite people were giving them, but yeah, I mean, I've got ideas, and I even wrote to Nick today, and I said, I would love to get back and write another Hamsters book. So if if they would have me do that, that would be great. However, I don't know, with being such an outspoken person in the CG community, if that would even happen now, to be honest with you, because it seems like Dynamite's kind of drawn the line in the sand, and it's obvious what side they're taking. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't call me back and they don't want me around. But the hamsters are so much a part of me, it would really hurt not to be able to write them again. But at the same time, I don't know if someone could take the reins and make it what it was. So that's just kind of the dilemma that we find ourselves in, but maybe there could be a happy medium. And
I certainly would hope that there could be, because at the end of the day, for me, it's all about having fun and making comics. And making comics for people who want to read the comics that I write. You know, I don't have an ideological crusade. I'm not on a mission to do that. There are messages in my books, but they're unilateral messages that can be said to the everybody. You know, it's not like I'm specifically trying to write for one group or against another group. And again, that brings us back to your parody. It's not parodying one group or against another group. It's parody for the sake of laughter and fun.
Exactly.
So the other question I was going to ask is what is the biggest obstacle right now to what you're doing, both in making comics and, in crowdfunding?
I'd say just getting that audience back. I mean, we had a pretty loyal, audience back in the 90s and with the Hamsters. And, when you take a break and you find that the whole distribution scheme is totally shifted and that people are kind of leaving Diamond, who was like our lifeline.
Not getting back in stores. Yep.
Right. So, and then stores themselves, being closed down in droves because of the pandemic and stuff. So it's a different atmosphere. Going directly to the consumer is fun, but I think I speak for a lot of creators out there that we wish that we could have thousands of readers. But X-Farce, we only printed like 1,000 books of that, and I didn't sell every single copy. But that's a far cry from the print runs that we used to do. Like Zen, Intergalactic Ninja, and Aster back in the 90s. And these books would sell
got a foil Zen. That's cool. I have a #1, but it's not that cover.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
This is Zero by Jay Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, sorry, it's backwards. Oh, dang it. So I always get it mixed up when I'm on
That's Zero, yep.
But so
I want to go run upstairs and grab my Zen now.
Yeah, we did all sorts of cool chromium and foil, and it's expensive, especially if you have low print runs. But
back in the day, absolutely. It's getting cheaper now to do like special cover touches. But yeah, back then it was definitely more novelty, boutique style cover stuff. But
right. So I guess the biggest obstacle is just rebuilding that audience. It takes time. I mean, I was never live streaming until recently, and I was really apprehensive getting StreamYard. And you can see my earlier streams from earlier this year. It was in a different studio. I didn't have a ring light. I looked really pale, and it's just refining your promotion and the way that you appeal to the end user is, it's an art. You have to almost be a celebrity in a way and make yourself accessible to fans in a way that I wasn't used to, because we didn't have, all we had was cons back then. We had email, but we never had streams where we would basically be chatting like we are one-on-one.
Yep. And now you got YouTube, you got Facebook, you got social media, and you're pretty active on all of those. So you're good at maintaining your brand, which helps retain your audience, and you're good at promoting your stuff when it comes around. What's next for you after this?
What's next? Well, I actually was asked to write a story for Thomas Valiant, which is a book that's crowdfunded. It's the first issue is not out yet, but it's done by RJ of the Islands. He's he kind of gravitates between Canada and the United States where he lives. I'm not exactly sure what his background is, but if you go and look up Thomas Valiant on Indiegogo, it's in demand, and his campaign was almost like $40,000. So he's a independent success story, and he's got a YouTube channel with like 14,000 subscribers. So he's kind of laid the groundwork for that book, and he sent me the artwork that's being produced for that book, and it's amazing. There's this guy named Renzo, I think his name's Renzo Rodriguez, and he's drawing Thomas Valiant.
That name's familiar.
But he's so good that Polton has got him lined up for like his next project. So he's probably gonna, get on the fast track with.
Oh, absolutely. Is he newer, or has he done stuff before? Because it's vaguely familiar. I'm not up on like the new artists entering into the industry now. Vaguely recall.
Yeah, I was on a stream with Renzo, like his very first live stream. He was a guest and I was a guest on a show. And English isn't his first language, so he was a little gun shy about the way that he was speaking and making sure that he was pronouncing things right. But it seemed to me like he had some professional credits, but I can't remember for what book. But the book that he's trying to do, it has almost like a classic X-Men Fantastic Four feel to it, which is, you know, what I grew up on. The John.
When you say classic, you mean like Claremont or like before Jim Lee's X-Men, before the 90s. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking more like 80s X-Men. So that's something that I'm looking forward to doing. He actually approached me because he wanted to do a retro type of feel story with a lighthearted feel. And so I think he saw my work on X-Farce and he bought X. Actually, I think I sent him X-Farce, the book that you have. I think he saw what I was doing with trying to make a parody look like it was from the 60s with the first story in X-Cons, which is a Lee and Kirby send-up of the original X-Men. And I think he liked that. And so he reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in drawing or doing a script for my next book? And I said, yeah, that'd be great. So I told him I have to kind of get Beardzzerker out of the way before I can concentrate on that. And he's still several months away from even, you know, getting that book into production. So that would be probably one of the things I'm working on. I'm still kind of tossing up in the air. Will I do more remastered parodies, new parodies, maybe bring back some serious stuff that I've done? So it's kind of up in the air right now, to tell you the truth, Aaron. I don't have anything that I can say I'm doing with definition.
You're still doing Beardzzerker. I mean, you haven't even fulfilled yet, you know? So
right.
You know,
yeah.
I understand. But you do have, like, honestly, that sounded like a good strategic step up to broaden the audience, to do something with someone who's collected 14,000 viewers on their channel, who's, you know, working with a exciting artist that will be taking off and be in demand because Polton and, you know, the others have shown interest there. That, like, that's a smart move to position yourself in that market to broaden the audience even more. Because I know, like, the stuff that you've put out, I thoroughly enjoy. I would like to see a larger audience, you know, start picking that material up, because I think it might change the game, or at least the pH balance in the biome, if you know what I mean. You know, it might bring a little bit different homeostasis to things.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's cool for you to say that. I would say, Aaron, as a writer, you and I are writers, and we're also publishers. It takes a lot of energy. We have a lot of people in the audience that are watching. I know Joe. I've had him on my show, and I mean, this isn't his full-time job. Is drawing Star Circuit. He's got, you know, his 9 to 5, and as a creator, it takes a certain amount of energy to do both your 9 to 5 and do your comic books. And then if you're the publisher and the writer, you're the jack of all trades. To get 2 books out a year this way is a lot of work. And to me, I almost kind of think, you know, as much as I like being face front and talking with people, I really miss just sitting down in front of my computer and writing a creative story. And so I almost kind of think I might want to take a little bit of a hiatus from the publishing end of things and get back into the, you know, refining my writing skills and
I
just
feel exactly the same way.
Yeah,
you know,
trying other characters. I'm sure people, if I said, look, I'm looking to work as a freelance writer, hopefully someone would come up to me like, you know, like Thomas Valiant did and say, would you consider doing this? And I mean, I want to show people that I can't.
I've got no, you know, fan base or anything, but I'd hire you in a heartbeat to write with, like, for real.
Thanks, man.
It'd be a hell of an experience. It'd be a learning experience for me. I think I'd get more out of it than you.
Well, you know, you never know, guys. I want to see what you're working on, because I have a feeling it's going to be special.
We'll talk more if you've got any little bit of extra time. We can talk a little bit more after this. But, you know, I don't want to drone out about our stuff. I do know what you mean, though. It is a lot of work promoting something, showing up in front of the camera, being active in streams. You know, either chatting or going on the streams, or in our case, hosting the streams, and maintaining that like breakneck speed of being relevant. And in a lot of ways, it falls on me as the writer and, Frequency Girl as the bearded lady to try and keep that momentum going while Garrett takes on the arduous task of cranking out all of the freaking art.
Yeah.
So when the writing hits me, like you said, the muse, descends and you write in like 2 or 3 days, but then everything else, all of the rest of the energy goes into this, maintaining the momentum. So I get where you're coming at. It would be nice to be a little bit more leisurely with the writing, a little bit more measured, take some time off. But we all want to get our books made and into the hands of people. Jim Cox says, it took me until now to realize Frequency Girl is the captain of this boat. She really is.
100%.
She's Blackbeard. It's a pirate Blackbeard.
You would have realized that sooner if you watched their impromptu midnight painting streams that they did the last 2 nights while I was asleep. Because they were boomering.
No, not they.
No,
me.
Aaron,
Garrett was doing what he always does. Head down, doing the art.
That's true. He's
just doing his thing, and I got to come along and I got to screw everything up because that's kind of what I do.
I kind of wanted to see Garrett's flatting. I mean, it's called flatting and chatting.
Let's throw it in. Yeah, right. Here we go.
Right now, I'm
doing.
This is a fantasy piece that I've been working on for myself because some of the MAVRICS stuff is a little bit spoilery, and I don't want to be doing it on stream. So I'm busying myself with something a little bit different. So
that's great, Garrett.
Do you want to take off the flat and show them just the pencils and inks?
Yeah, I mean that. I'm just right now. I'm kind of cutting out that background.
Yeah.
But
so Garrett, do you work? Do you work on traditional pencil and ink and paper, or do you do everything digitally, or is it combo?
Currently, I've been doing mostly digital stuff.
We're trying to get him into the physical.
I actually was just at the art store the other day, refreshing all of my supplies for doing things in the physical.
Amanda knows.
We got to get you a good art desk that you can draw on and good lights.
Yeah, no, I've been looking around for a better desk because
that way I can film you doing it too.
Yeah, because I used to have one of those drafting desks back in the day, but I have since lost that bit of furniture in multiple moves, and mostly because throughout the pandemic it's been mostly just digital stuff with people, and even before then, digital is just
easier.
It's easier in most regards, right?
I mean, even if you work traditionally, you scan it in and then you do all of the finishing digitally.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it. Did you grow up reading a lot of Conan?
I did.
I mean, like one of his big things.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is definitely a Conan ripoff.
Dude, Sean Brock.
But
Sean Brock.
I don't know where that file is.
It looks like
yeah, it's
kind
also
kind of a cool she-esque character up in the corner with the bow and arrow.
Yeah, he's got a whole D&D party.
One of the first things that I really gravitated toward as a youth was an old game called Hero Quest. I think Milton Bradley put it out. And it was like a dungeon crawl adventure game with 4 characters: a wizard, a barbarian, a dwarf, and an elf. And
sounds like
to me,
Gauntlet.
like that's
exactly
that's what I was just gonna say.
Exactly.
But that's the core adventuring party, right? And from there, I got involved in Warhammer. I got involved in D&D. I got involved in looking at all kinds of illustrations from artists who worked on that stuff.
I can see the heavy metal influence still.
Yeah.
In it, to tell you the truth.
Thank you.
There's a lot of there's a lot of Mobius in what he's been doing with
Corbin in there.
What we've been doing together. There's like a lot of that older
I
style,
appreciate that.
the horizon and empty space. This isn't very empty.
No,
I'll do that.
No. I mean,
that's awesome, man.
There's a nice big negative space shape up there,
and you've got a nice background. I can't wait to see it fully colored and have like things stand out against each other because there's a lot going on there.
When does MAVRICS potentially? Are you doing
we're going to launch it? There's
a
sign up right now. Actually, we never drop our own links. We're so
really?
bad at promoting.
I gotta go sign up.
Yeah, there's a sign up. Honestly, if we get to the next 50, I think 150 is where we're heading, and
here's the page that we always show
34.
off, which is a full page from the book. This is page number 22.
It's the tarmac scene.
Yeah, this is when the squad is about to take off for their mission.
They're about to hop into their little transport. Well, they're big transports.
So you can kind of get a sense of scale of the robots.
We're also doing a big 9x12 oversized book because we want to be like a table book, you know.
Yeah.
And we might go hardcover.
I like I said, I grew up on Conan. I grew up on heavy metal. Those oversized zines.
Yeah.
So a lot of Euro books end up at that 9x12 kind of dimension. I really like that.
Awesome, man.
I
love it.
I love floppies. I love modern comics, but I think it's the idea of this really narrow book is kind of unnecessary in crowdfunding, right? We get to decide whatever we're making. We don't need to be worried about taking up space on a shelf. Make it bigger. Make it something that you get to hold and look at and enjoy. So
exactly.
Yeah, Amanda B. Garrett does everything. This is him start to finish. This is him 100%. Yeah. It was a blank screen, and then it was this, and it was all Garrett. Nobody in between.
Yeah, you can see you can see my horrible
your layers
of layers.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm going to sign up right now. So
cool. Yeah, because we're going to launch probably in July. We were thinking early July. Now it's more like mid-July because we want to get a little bit extra time and give people an opportunity to, get some disposable income in their wallets so that we can take it all from them.
Yep.
The sign-up list. If we hit 150, we'll do another giveaway, another three-tiered giveaway. We just did one when we hit 100.
I think also we've been talking. At some point before our launch, we want to put out a short digital preview of the book.
Kind of like an 8-page something.
Yeah, because our book's going to be like 60 pages, or unfortunately, we might be more than that, actually.
We'll see. I have to finish. I have to finish.
At least 60 pages. So, previewing 8 pages so people know that the art is worthwhile, the story is worthwhile. 5
times, it's 1/5 of the book.
Yeah.
Not even.
That should be out there at some point in the coming month or so, coming 2 months. I don't know.
So if you guys, if you launch this year, then what would be your anticipated publication date?
Oh, for the actual fulfillment? Not too far after launch, I don't think, because I think most of the book is going to be done for launch.
Right.
Yeah. We don't want to have anything really lingering behind. It is going to be a 60 day, damn, I can't talk, campaign. And Garrett's kind of working on this full time right now. So he's got nothing to do but just draw during that 60 days. If we need to finish.
So after we fulfill, it should probably be pretty shortly after the book's going to be in hands. So, you can be expecting to read this in fall.
Yeah, after we finish crowdfunding. We're also going on Kickstarter too. So we're going to do 6 weeks on Indiegogo, then start on Kickstarter, finish those last 2 weeks on Indiegogo, close out the main campaign, probably go in demand, but straight into fulfillment from Indiegogo, finish the campaign on Kickstarter, and then fulfill that. I can tell you all about the plans. I've kept them pretty close to the chest. I've been leaking a little bit lately on Red Valkyrie when I get drunk on their Friday night streams. So,
do you have a printer already set up, or are you still kind of shopping?
Our captain is doing a lot of the work for us.
She's pretty much figured out the merchandising, the pricing, shipping, who we're printing with, how we're doing our variants. She keeps all the artists in the loop. We've got a whole bunch of variant covers and prints and other stuff that this is a big campaign. Everyone does a sensible campaign when they go out the door. I'm not sensible. It's just I can't be normal. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to go big. And that way, if I can handle big, I know that I'm confidently able to handle whatever comes at me in this industry.
Go bigger.
Like I said, I do it for fun. I'm not trying to make a whole lot of money. So I'm able to spend a little bit more than maybe I should.
That's cool.
I'm not going to make money on this book.
Can I ask you guys what your regular jobs are, or just
currently? I manage property. You know the real estate game.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you show houses and sell them. I manage them.
I'm a starving artist.
Yeah. we keep them fed though.
And you live with them, Garrett, or are you
currently? Yeah, currently we're all living together while Garrett's looking for another spot because like the old apartment and COVID and all of that.
Yep.
I see.
But I work on MAVRICS. I also do some illustration work on the side for that. I'm pretty blessed with. I got a bunch of different clients that I do some work with. I do graphic design work.
Yep.
Cool, man.
I also occasionally do miniature commissions. I'm a creative type.
He'll always find something to do, and it's something that scratches the itch also because the world is in need of creativity. So artists like Garrett, they're just always in demand. It's how to get the name out there and how to get people to be like, oh yeah, I want him to do it. So he has been a little bit of a well-kept secret for me. After this book goes out there, I'm sure people are going to be like, well, damn, I want Garrett. And then, we're going to have to decide how he wants to proceed being a starving artist, or if he wants to be a fully employed, well-to-do artist. Yeah.
I like it. It's very unique style. I mean, I always look for something that I've never seen before. And to me, this is it fits that bill. It has kind of that heavy metal magazine.
It's a little painterly, that's one of the elements that I like about it. It's not overly illustrated. Don't get me wrong. I love 90s comics. I really do. I know I love them more than Garrett does, but there's something about this with the clean, simpler lines and more attention to colors and less line work that I thought spoke well of a futuristic sci-fi story.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Frequency Girl, you win the award for wearing the Beardzzerker beard the longest, way longer than Bancroft. Excellent. Way longer than Bancroft. So
I like winning things.
Frequency Girl, what do you have a 9-to-5 too, or?
Not currently. Before we moved to Connecticut, when we were still in New York, I taught kindergarten.
Ah.
So I was a New York City public school teacher
and
for like 13
when we
years.
moved, she still has to get her reciprocity from New York to Connecticut. So there's a process by which she has to get accreditation before she can start teaching again. And COVID.
I either have to go there in person, but everything's closed, or I have to get a person on the phone who can access the file, and they're not there in person.
We've been extremely fortunate given our situation that one of my primary revenue streams has maintained its demand on the market. I also manage, or I'm a founding member of another company which does audio and video recording. It's called Media Benders, and we did recording promotional work for all sorts of different artists. We would film and record live events. We had spots at South by Southwest. We were getting invited to Coachella, and then COVID. So
it's been a hell of a year.
So many of our revenue streams kind of just got blocked off, and it's been hard for us. But at the same time, we've been very fortunate and haven't suffered too much.
That's
there are a lot of people out there that have had it a whole lot harder than we have.
And we've been able to focus on MAVRICS and get a lot of stuff done and ready.
And realize that, one of the biggest parts of doing an indie book is letting people know that you exist.
Yeah.
So, interacting with people online has been a big focus for a lot of us, I think.
Hey, Hex Allen. Speak of, well, we didn't mention you at all, but now we will. We were talking about our campaign, which means that we were talking about our launch. Now, Hex has Nephilim Squadron, which he's also considering launching in July. In fact, I think he's pretty much set a date. We were going to do the buddy campaign thing where we're launching kind of in the same vicinity. So maybe we do like a crossover print or something like that, bolster each other and I guess take on that month together. And I think that's really cool for crowdfunding.
I will say you missed Mobig's
what did Mo say
before. Bancroft has very sensitive skin.
He does.
That's
it's not
why
thin,
he wears blouses.
It's not thin. That's why he wears blouses.
Also, it's funny that you mentioned the heavy metal inspirations. The main character for the book is the leader of the squadron, Teresa Mayweather, whose pilot handle is mother. And
do I have?
She's actually got Tarna's tattoo on her neck. So if you're familiar with the heavy metal movie, she's got that red dagger. And even her helmet's color scheme, the white hair is kind of reflected on the white top, and the red armor pieces, and you can't see it
in this shot.
Yeah, I haven't added it yet, but the red dagger is actually going to be going on the side of her helmet right there. So that's,
everything's done with intent.
Yep.
Her name is done with it. All the names are done with intent. The designs are done with intent. I comb this thing backwards to forwards because if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it on purpose.
Yeah. Right. Awesome, man. I love it. I'll definitely.
So what?
I was gonna say much like.
Oh yeah, like much, and that's I think why it was so significant for me because every joke that you made is done with intent. You have to be intentionally being funny in parody for it to be funny. You have to be persistently looking for a way to make a joke without horribly offending people or parodying something to the point where it's painfully obvious that you're satirizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
go ahead.
No, you.
I was gonna say, does Frequency Girl, is she an editor? Does she read over your scripts and give you any feedback? Or
I mean, I do. I'm not at all the editor of the book.
No, Jake Thomas from Marvel Comics is actually the editor of the book.
Oh wow, awesome guys, cool.
Yeah,
my wife edits me. Yeah, so I think it always helps.
We were lucky to pick up Jake because it was during Pencils Down. If you remember Pencils Down. When everybody kind of got furloughed and he didn't have a lot to do. It's actually a really long story. It started off with talking to Greg Pak, but we had
a mutual friend who introduced us
to someone who introduced us to Jake, and we kind of worked with him from there. And
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. And so he signed on to do the book, this issue and next issue with us before we get to the main series. So the first two books, about 180 pages.
But Aaron does show me stuff like when he's working on it.
I'll tell her, is this stupid? And she'll go, yes or no. And then we'll fight about it.
Sweet, man. I can't wait. I want to back this thing. So
you will. You'll get your opportunity. You'll get your opportunity to go to some of the higher levels too. Make sure you spend some of that hot Beardzzerker money on it. What advice do you have for newer creators out there getting into comic books and getting into crowdfunding? Specifically, we could probably benefit from some of that wisdom, but anything you want to share with people who might be watching who need, some advice?
Don't let people get you down. I mean, with the internet, when you take a chance when you put something out that people are going to be potentially negative or not like it. But I had a lot of rejection starting in my career, when I wanted to get published. I would, I didn't hold on to my rejection letters, but that kind of what spurred me into doing my own self-publishing is just thinking that, if I can't get hired by anybody, then I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. And that's kind of the whole, I think, spirit that is so cool about CG now and just crowdfunding in general is that you have a lot more control and you're not under the, under the authority of a big publisher. So you have a lot more freedom, which I think is a great thing. I just say, never give up. Galaxy Quest, never give up, never surrender.
Never surrender.
That's one of my favorite parody movies too.
Yeah,
that one was done with love. You can kind of tell, that whole vibe. Well, I was going to say start small, but you guys are going big. So what do I know? Your first project. To do it, you seem like you've really done your homework and you've really taken the time to be calculated and thorough. And like you said, everything is intentional. So I think you're at an age whereas when I was young and like a teenager in high school, I didn't know my head from a hole in the ground and I was just kind of winging it. And now after years of trying to learn what works and what doesn't, I'm still learning. You just have to kind of take that in and we never do a perfect first campaign. There's always going to be something that comes up. Just show grace to yourself and just everybody's a work in progress and we're all at different levels of talent. You've got Noah in the chat and he's, for a 16-year-old, I told him, I did an unboxing.
Yeah, very proud of him.
of his book, and I said, dude, you are like 10 years ahead of
what
where
other
I was.
16-year-old can crowdfund a comic book of that length and clear like $2,000+
Seriously.
and have grown-ass men like you and Peter Simeti and Michael Bancroft helping promote for him? Like, that kid is off to such a hot start. I was talking to him and he was like, it's probably not my best work, and I don't know if I like. I'm like, bruh, you're 16.
I should hope it's not your
If you
best
were
work.
Jim Lee, we'd all be jumping off bridges. Like, if you're better than us at 16, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Give yourself time to grow.
I said, don't forget me, Noah, when I need a job. Like,
right? Yeah. When you're the hot thing out there, because writing and drawing, that rare breed, once again, able to conceive of, write his scripts and draw his own books. I don't know if he did his own colors or not, or own letters. But yeah, that's that talent, just cultivates and gets better over time. Now, I appreciate those words. That's also why I'm doing such a big campaign. Because no one runs a perfect first campaign, and if it fails, I can be like, "Oh, it was way too complicated. It wasn't us. It was the fact that it was, just
you got it
bit off too much. Shouldn't have tried to chew that much, right?"
Right.
Mobig says, "I was the only one who told it to Noah like it is. Now he's leveling up on a constant basis." Noah did colors and letters. Oh, that's right. Awesome. He did do colors and letters. That's why we had that stream where we kind of fixed his art. Did we fix Noah's art? Did we do an art fix? No, we kind of did an art study when we looked at his colors on the ARO piece.
I need to read his book. I have it here. It's pretty.
I got most the way through. Honestly, like for me, following story is very important, but I just got interested in the art. So I just kept flipping forward and looking for more and more of like what's visually presented. So
his dad did that.
Yeah, that's really cool too, that he had a dad who edited for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool dad. All
right. So is there anything else you want to tell people out in the internet where they can find you, that kind of thing?
Well, I'm on Twitter at RealDonChin.
Sorry about that.
And then no worries. Beardzzerker.com is our campaign that's still got about 2.5 weeks left, and X-Farce is still in demand. I did want to mention, besides the specials that we kind of mentioned on Beardzzerker, that for this through this weekend, if anyone makes a purchase on xfarce.com of anything on our campaign, we're giving 50% of the proceeds to Pete Simeti to offset his vet bill. So if you go there and you want to buy one comic or more than that, whatever we make, we're going to donate 50% to his cat's. I guess she had like 6 teeth extracted, and it was pretty expensive. So that was actually probably why you helped support the auction on that stream. Neff is for Peter's cat. So we're still continuing that, and I want to thank everybody that's made a contribution to the campaign.
Yeah, Peter's been a very stand-up guy and a real great part of indie comics. He's given a platform to so many creators. His Monday night show where he just has people on and do their 5-minute pitch to help give them visibility. We haven't gone on yet because, well, our book's not out, and I didn't want to like jump prematurely into it. I really want to work out my pitch, but I watch that stream all the time. I lurk and I see what's going on, and I also watch all the shows that other people go on. But Pete's been he's like a catalyst, if that's like the right way.
Yeah, I just started to try to do that type of a 7-minute show on the morning. So every once in a while, when I don't have a guest, I'll have a promote. So if you guys want to come on to that, I'm happy to give you a much bigger slot. But he's got Timey Tim. And so I've got this bear timer that awesome. I try to get people to give him names. And at this point, I think we're calling him like Beardzzerker or.
I love that. Nice.
As long as he's not the bear that exterminated your hamsters, right?
Boris. Oh, that's pretty funny, actually. I would. That's
before Boris comes for you. Finish your bitch. All right. Well, we had a great time talking to you, Don. Thanks so much for coming. Everybody, go back to Beardzzerker. Grab X-Farce because it's still in demand if you can. Is there a tier on Beardzzerker where you can also get X-Farce? Do I remember that correctly?
There's one you can get them for both. I think it's $40 for the two.
So it's a good way to save on shipping, people. If you want to do that and don't want to go to both, definitely get the book though. It's worth the read.
Thanks, bud.
So I guess
nice to meet Garrett and your wife too. I like having like multiple people and just meeting everyone.
Yeah, it was nice chatting with you. It's a lot of fun.
One of these days we'll have to talk to Laura, because she's cool too, and
she's
I feel
shy.
like
my wife. Yeah, she's
I feel like we owe her at least one coffee.
She would not deny. She would not decline that nice gesture there. So, cool. So I think it's dinner time for me. So I'm going to go upstairs and get some food.
Fantastic. Well, so that's it for us, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell for notification,
and tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.